All right. Gotta decide what we're drawing here tonight. I think I need some more. Maybe a pencil lead. Oh, that's empty. Throw that one out. There we go. All right. We've got Hulk, we got Spawn, we got Conan, Star Wars, what's this one? Avengers, Red Sonja, Batman, more Conan, more Star Wars, X-Men. Oh, I do love the X-Men, so maybe we'll draw some X-Men. That sounds good. Unless somebody has a strong opinion. Hulk one? Hey Josh, yeah, I did the one stream from Canada, but back in the States, back doing the regular thing. I'll do a Hulk. I like Hulk too. I have two. They are weird, they're like weird paper. They're like super slick. Got a Shattered Empire one. And then what's the other one? The other one was even worse. Vader down. But yeah, if you wanted a Vader, I do have a Vader. I suppose I could get away with doing like a whole bunch of aliens on the Shattered Empire one, but I'm terrible with likenesses. And these are usually for me to get work done or goof off. And let's come up with a Hulk one. Let's try to think of a story. Try to come up with a little story. Maybe Hulk. The land of hockey and beer was good. I wore my Bruins shirt one day and survived. Got all sorts of cool comics. Here's actually like a French language Superman, which is pretty cool. I speak some French, so I read it better than I speak it. Eduardo Barreto Superman, who I feel is like a pretty underrated artist. But the cool thing is like halfway through, this must have been like an issue of World's Finest or something. It's got a story of Batman. It's got a Don Newton Batman story in it. And then one of the weird little things that was in it, and I have no idea if this was in the original, it's got two sideways pages printed small. So, oh, cool. And then I picked up all sorts of indie stuff. By local creators. This one was pretty cool. Death Wish Foundation. That was pretty cool. Something called Silver Blood. I started reading that. That's fun. Got these at got some cool local stuff. But yeah, that's Yeah, so maybe we'll have like the Hulk. Yeah, there's no movement to that, so maybe we'll have it so where he's coming forward. You said a family reunion up in Canada? Oh, that's cool. Uh, yeah, he was kind of all over the place. The Leonard Cohen mural, and yeah, kind of a big deal up there. All right, we got our little doodle. This is doing like the Hulk battling the Mole Man. Kind of like the idea of the Mole Man just taunting him as he's like got all kinds of the moloids like just all over him. Can't make it easy, right? Can't make it just a headshot. Because I find that stuff boring. Narrative value. That's what I find fun. What do I think about Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine one more time? Honestly, like it doesn't bother me. I enjoyed Logan. I actually think the director's cut to the Wolverine, which was also directed by James Mangold, as opposed to the theatrical cut, was actually a pretty good movie. Um, because they explain all the motivations of the characters that they cut out in the theatrical cut. Like they basically cut out like all the phenomenal Japanese actors, like big scenes, like big monologues and stuff. Um, but they've been playing this joke off for years, like the between Deadpool and Wolverine and Ryan and Hugh on social media, and it's a jokey payoff kind of thing. And I'm sure it'll be very fun and it'll fit, the tonality that they're going for of it being just like a big fun thing. And I just don't take it too seriously. That's all. Like I'm sure though, because the fact is they're kind of stuck with the Fox actors for like another 2 years or something. I mean, I say stuck with, like there's some phenomenal actors, that they get to work with, but I mean they can't recast until those contracts are up. I guess that was part of the purchasing of all those contracts and getting the rights from Fox and everything else. I'm sure if you like the first two Deadpool movies, that it'll fit right in. Yeah, why not? How you doing, Jonathan? Yeah, I'm working on sketchcover. We were talking a little bit about the Hugh Jackman. That was a little unexpected, but I think that for the tone of the movie, just I wouldn't take it super seriously, and I don't think it's gonna ruin any legacy. Like let's be honest here, they're popcorn flicks. We're not talking about groundbreaking cinema here. Um, this is a character that survived X-Men Origins. I don't like this layout. There's too much going on, I think. Yeah, and that's a perfectly reasonable point. He might just show up for like one line and walk out the door. They did that in one of the X-Men movies. What was it? First Class, where he showed up for a minute. Right now, what I'm doing is just really chunking out the geometric shapes, trying to get, kind of a grasp of what I want this to be. And to be honest, you know, this is kind of a jokey Hulk cover. I always liked the Mole Man, so was it though? Was it? Uh-uh. The one thing that I forgive about that movie, Jonathan, is that, like, if you look at it as, like, a cartoonish, over the top, like, we're talking, like, late Bronson, Steven Seagal, action-y, cartoon level violence type movies, I mean, he punches a helicopter. He punches a helicopter. Let's not forget. He punches a helicopter. So, like, this idea that, like, that we're preserving necessarily, like, an unblemished record here, I think is a false premise, and I think it's just a, unnecessary, gatekeeping, um if it's fun, like, if you like the other Deadpool movies, you're probably gonna like this one. Like, they're superficial, uh, popcorn flicks. He did. He punched a helicopter. Like, Jay and I will still talk about that sometimes. It's kinda like one of those, like, if we're joking around about coming up with a story, like, there's certain things, like, any comic that had arcade in it, there was a scene where the walls fell down and they were in a giant pinball machine. That's one of the jokes that we'll say to one another to help break the writing block, and then also, how about they just punch a helicopter? That's another one. See, this is too stiff. Ah, I'm angry about it. See if I can erase it. Some of these sketch covers will erase, some of them won't. And I think we can do better layering. I like the concept, it was just too up and down. Who cares? Nobody's gonna buy it anyway. I draw things for me in case, because I don't know if anyone's ever gonna buy the originals. So I want to be able to be happy to look at them. And I can forgive, like, little blue eraser marks if I get the result that I want. See, and more storytelling. There we go. The idea is that the mole man captures the Hulk. I just like to be happy with the work. That's all. And if I'm not, you know, then it was a waste for me. That's one of the reasons I have a hard time with commissions sometimes. Like, I'll take forever. Like, I'm sure there's an angry internet post or two about how long I took on a commission. Um, but like, there was one that I spent. God, I redrew it probably 10 times, but I nailed it. I nailed it, and if they were like, "We don't like it," I would have gladly bought it back. Let's turn his head a little bit. There we go. It's much better. because now the arm goes behind where the mole man's going to be. This is the mole man right here. I know you can't tell yet because he doesn't have his little staff. Much better. See, there's just more movement to it, and it's not as stiff. He was too vertical, and there are too many 90-degree angles. Everybody else draws so clean, I get jealous of that, because I just can't do it. Yes, Hans Moleman. Yep, he's here to renew his license with Patty and Selma. One of my favorite stories with the Mole Man is actually from Warlock and the Infinity Watch, because they actually use his island as their home base for a while, which was cool. They were on Monster Island. I always liked that story. Other stuff that's come up lately, I considered writing a blog post about all the AI art that's been going around. I know that's been a topic of discussion of great importance to folks. Hot debate lately. Um, I've taken a little while to think about it and digest it. Like, it was a topic of conversation at Colorado Springs amongst the professionals that were there. It was a topic of conversation basically at everywhere that I've seen comic book artists. And really, I think that it's impossible to believe that the companies aren't going to try to exploit that technology and free labor and speed. So it really just comes down to whether or not it lands with the readers. And I think for general readers that it will, but I do think that comics have this strange hybridized situation where they are sometimes just collectibles and fans are fans because they met a creator or they know a creator, so that there might be a little bit of resistance, and it really just depends on whether or not it sells at the numbers they need it to. And to be honest, they need it to sell at far fewer numbers because it's not going to cost them as much to make a comic book with the AI technology. We already have creators messing around with it. I had heard that Dave McKeon had already made a comic book with it over a weekend. Basically, made like 100-page graphic novel, 70 pages maybe. I don't think it was 100, but it was substantial. And it was to the point where people were talking about it. So yeah, there's a few different programs, and I messed around with one of them, and it was just god awful. But it was one of the free ones, and there's a few that are in trial mode, and you have to apply to be allowed to use it, and they are much, let's just say, more accurate and better than, because you can literally just say Mike Mignola graveyard scene in one, and it spits you back one that looks like a Mike Mignola graveyard scene. So it's it's going to make commercial art even tougher, and it's going to, because stock photography websites didn't replace photographers, but it gave access to photography for um, it's very close, Jonathan. It's actually closer than I thought it would be. When I messed around with it with the freebies, it's not, but with the stuff that's currently in beta testing, like Dali, and there's another one that I forget the name of it. It's close. Dave Johnson's been making fun of it and posting images from it on his Facebook page, and he and a few other pros that I won't name have been, basically been saying like, "Thank God we don't have to compete with this." Yeah, I mean, it's a lot further along than I thought it would be. So we have it chunked out, which is good. This is the chunking out phase, and I like the angle of the Hulk. And while we could have more flex to him, I think we're at a moment where the Hulk is like taking a breath, and the Mole Man can like poke him in the chest and be like, "I got you." Actually, gonna pull up some reference for the Mole Man. That's the thing. I mean, anybody that knows the comic book industry, they have always shifted to cheap labor. They have a long history of it, and you know that's something that they've always done. There's a John Byrne Mole Man. Let's see if we can find a nice Kirby. There we go. Look at that. Um, yeah, I mean, that's just how it works. I mean, I personally, and this is just me, I don't follow IPs. I don't follow characters. Not anymore. Not at any company. It's been a few years now, and there are some that I still enjoy, and I'll check it out. But I follow creators. Um, I follow creators because I am inspired by the creative decisions that they make. I'm informed by different things that they do, and um, it just will not sway me to like. It's not going to affect my reading unless creators stop creating. It probably means that they'll stop creating. Probably some of the more because they're going to test it, and I'm wondering where they're going to test it. Like it's the kind of thing where that maybe they'll test it in webtoons first. um, there is the question of copyright because an AI generated image um, does not have an author, so there is no copyright protection. um, so are they going to change the laws for copyright protection to extend to give AI essentially human rights just so that they can profit off of it? Now this is going years down the road, but that's like the direction they'd have to go in. They would have to rewrite the laws or just lie. That's the easier way. Yeah, I think about this stuff. It's important. It's important to be, up to speed with these things. I mean, heck, I mean they reward artists that copy other artists, so why wouldn't they reward machines that copy other machines? So it's a thing that happens all the time. I mean, I've been told to copy other artists. I did it once, and that was when I was told to copy the Bruce Timm style guide for that Batman Adventures cover. But that's common practice. It's all going to depend on if it sells. But that's a conversation that's been circulating and making the rounds at conventions and stuff. And between artists, it's the kind of thing that we talk about. Being informed on, what the laws are, copyright, and historically how they've exploited cheap labor. That's just something that has been just part of commercial art. Cheaper, faster, more profits. But yeah, the AI art thing has been on the minds of people. But other things going on, I've got more Helena pages to work on. Unfortunately, the Tick Kickstarter story that we pitched is not going to happen, but they've told us to go back to square one and pitch other ideas. So we'll see what happens there. They've said that they're interested in publishing books in 2020, whatever year next year is, 2023, but based on their current track record, who knows? I guess I should say their historical track record, but currently it's been zero output. Yeah, there's NEC has a long history of functioning at these levels. So, but the one thing that I will say that Jeff and I, we've been around longer than pretty much anybody that has stuck with the company. So, and I actually do think we have the longest number of years on the book um, of any creative team or person. But and that's saying something, that we don't give up. We don't quit easy. Like little boots. No, he's got just pants and then shoes. Yeah, that's how we felt as well, Jonathan. I'll show you the pitch that we did. I'm really proud of the story. I'm hoping that Undersea Hero sticks around long enough, because the story really only works, for an established character um, that needs a kick in the backside to get it going. Um, or it would have to be like a new from scratch character, I guess, but it would not work with Undersea Hero like year one. It would need to be like year 3. Good news though, I did get my approval for pro status at San Diego Comic Con and WonderCon. So you're looking at a card carrying recognized professional. Yay. It's nice when you get to walk in the front door sometimes. You don't have to like sneak in the side door of a show, or they're just like, "Oh yeah, you can just walk in. You've done lots of work." It's a good feeling. Here's my little mole man. I would do a mole man solo comic in a heartbeat. Is it a weird idea? Hey, I'm applying for both. I'm applying for spots at both shows. So we'll see what happens. If I only get WonderCon, I'll be there. If I get San Diego and WonderCon, screw it. I'll fly to both. But yeah, I'm planning on somehow, by hook or by crook, getting back to the West Coast next year. Hey, if I get there, we'd get to hang out, and you could tell me where the best place to get breakfast is. The best place to get a sashimi dinner or something. I don't know. But the plan is currently, I know I said I was going to put out Undersea Hero this year, but what I'm thinking of doing, and it's the same thing that I told NEC that they should do, is that I'm going to hold back until one of those shows and do an exclusive first issue for that show and use that to launch the book. I think getting the most eyeballs at a show possible, and whether we launch the kicks, we have the issue like the exclusive issue there, and then launch the Kickstarter for issue one at the show or something. But that would be the plan would be to use the show to help springboard the book and help get it funded. Now, I have a couple of people who have already said that they would dump some serious money into it, or at least what I consider serious money. More than just buying one issue, I consider serious money. Even if you just buy a sketch, that's serious money. In my book, it is. Hey, Kevin, if you were there and I was there, it would be a good thing. I'm thinking good thoughts. But, I have no idea what the likelihood of my getting a spot is at either place, or, even if I just get a pro badge, I would go just to be there and talk to the editors and pitch and try to get work. Hey, that sounds like a plan to me. I've already got a few pros that have said they would do variants and pinups for me, and they're pretty well known. At least to me, they are. And I think they do terrific work. Is the bottom line. So, hey, you're a good man, Kevin. That's what we like to hear. Still looking at reference. Back to the burn. I want to put a heavy shadow on the Hulk. So let's say the light's coming from like a crack in the moloid world from behind. I always like Burns stuff, especially when I was first getting into comics. He was, one of those superstar artists. Got to meet him a few times, and His Fantastic Four run I always really liked. I mean, obviously the X-Men stuff. He did a book called FX at IDW that Jay and I both really liked. It was just like a kid superhero writing the comic book, like that you wrote when you were a kid playing with action figures, and it had like everything you could think of in it. Honestly, comics are out of control cover price wise, and it was my favorite year ever. I mean, I gotta say the comics themselves are like the production value on them is higher than it's ever been. So I can understand why they're expensive, and they're also printing fewer and fewer. That's another thing that's going towards the price hike. On top of that, paper costs and delivery costs are all up. It's you know, my grocery bill's gone up. The really fancy ones are absolutely like a luxury item. I was, if I was a kid today, I would still be buying like I did before. Like I'd be buying comics, old comics out of the dollar bin, um, just because like that's what I could afford, and they're still entertaining. I don't know. Like I know that's not good for new comics coming out. I buy a lot of my new comics on Kickstarter these days because, like I said, I don't follow any just characters to follow characters anymore. And I was a diehard X-Men guy for years, diehard Aquaman guy for years. Um, but it's just not for me, you know. And like there were too many times when I looked at comics that I had been reading. I'll pretty much give any comic book that I'm momentum on like 3 issues to right the ship, or you know, and I feel the same way about most TV shows. I'll give you 3 episodes to right the ship, and if you don't, I'll find something else to watch, or I'll find something else to read. Life's too short to be reading stuff you don't like, and there's too much good stuff out there. Yeah, that's what if I have extra money, like if I get a big gig or something, I'll hire my friends to do some work for me, or I'll buy a piece of their artwork, or I'll buy a piece of art, online. There's some dealers that still sell pages of artwork for like 40 and $50. Like you don't have to spend, $1,000 on a piece of artwork. You can if you got the bread, go nuts. But you can buy artwork for reasonable levels still if you know where to look. Can't have Hulk looking like he skips leg day. Uh, and I'll hand letter this in Hulk, and then I'll put like captured. That's true. I mean, you can still buy a John Byrne page for $250. Like you can still, it's not going to be an X-Men page or an FF page or a She-Hulk page, but if you want just a example of Byrne's work, Steve Wilcox is his agent, and he still has like some of his IDW pages. And actually, at the last convention I saw him at, which was Boston a number of years ago now, he had pages going back to the 80s, like Star Brand, like the stuff he did on New Universe. And it was inked by Tom Palmer. I actually just bought a page from Ron Garney at his last signing for like 45 bucks, 40 bucks, 45 bucks. It was not $50, whatever it was. Oh wow, okay. So you've got like the big burn commissions. I've never actually seen the I've seen one in person that was like poster size and it was crazy. There was like a zillion characters on it. I have no idea what I would get if I had like burn commission money. Like I would first of course ask him if he would draw one of my characters for one of the books. But shy of that, like I don't know, like I haven't seen too many burn Conans in my day. That could be fun. Oh, gotcha, gotcha. I don't know if I've seen much of his work. I bought two burn pages ages and ages ago. One of them was a New Gods page. I think it was 150 bucks. And then the other was a She-Hulk page, duotone with Wyatt, and I think that was like 165 bucks. But that was like around the year 2000 and 2004, 2003, somewhere in there. At the time, it was the most I'd spent on any single page. Okay, he does homage stuff. Right on. That makes sense, you know, if he's his agent. This here. Do a little cleanup. I've got it mostly laid out here. Yeah, well, I've penciled in the lettering, and what I'm going to do is that big chunky like monster lettering with like little texture at the bottom, like a nice Sid Shores lettering. Once we get to that part, well, maybe I'll do that part first, like the old days. I love hand lettering. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. Yeah, I'm going to, for the captured part, the Hulk I'm actually going to have behind this stuff. Like I'll erase this because I want there to be the layers, and I want him to be like not breaking free. So like the parts of the Hulk that should be there, like the logo is going to stay, but I'm going to put the word captured on top of it, and I'll white out the letters so that, you know, you see it. Because I want it to be like a comic book cover, you know. If I had more room for some more moloids, I would put some more of them in. Maybe I can fit a second one peeking over the other one's head. I can fit a few in there. Hey, I love the letter. You know, you just have to be flexible. I don't know. I can't really do a workman style lettering. John Workman is the guy that worked with Simonson for many years. He does a very clean, what you call it, style. He uses a lot of templates and a lot of straight lines. And you know, I hand letter the Helena comic, and if you look at that, you can see like what style my lettering mostly is. Yeah, right there, the captured. I'll do that next once we get the captured by the mole man. I need to break the habit of putting my hand in front of the freaking drawing. It's like the dumbest thing that I do. Maybe second dumbest thing that I do on these things. Jonathan, I do have one question for you that's very important, and it's been causing me a great amount of distress lately. What the hell are we going to do now that MeTV is not on local cable? for Halloween season. Like, it's a catastrophe. I'm almost to the point of writing a letter. Very upset. The wife and I are very upset about this. There, now we take this. Yeah, we have no idea what to do. We're confused. We're scared. We don't know if we have to move. But the no me TV situation is a problem. There are very few channels I watch regularly, and that was one of them. Yeah, Comet is still there. I mean, I do watch a fair amount of like old horror movies and stuff on Tubi. That's where I've had to get my fill, I suppose. I also hand lettered Iron Face. They did all the lettering for Iron Face too. A couple of things didn't print the way I'd hoped they would. There's a couple of sound effects that I should have put a stroke on that you can have trouble reading on the type of paper. I won't make that mistake again with the next Iron Face. It's already 9:17, good lord. I'm gonna have to pencil some of these in advance so that I can actually finish something on the stream. It seems like everything lately I've been getting like half done. Oh, sure, man. Yeah, I'll post it when it's done, or I'll PM you or whatever. The tick one, actually, one of my big tick fans actually PM me after the one in Canada and picked that one up, which was nice of him. Give you the first crack at it. Hopefully it comes out okay. Yeah, the Mountie tick. Even though I was just nervous about it, the whole setup in Canada, like the whole using internet from the hotel, the Wi-Fi, and setting everything up, I didn't even talk very much. I was just really nervous. I was like, please don't crash halfway through. And we only had like one crash, I think, and it was later. So there might have been a couple of points where something kicked out, but like only one true, like, okay, we gotta redo the thing. Not many people hand letter anymore. I don't know, people want that perfect computer lettering. And I much prefer, very organic looking, chunky lettering. It's just how I am. And I love it in old comics. I was reading Savage Sword, and there was some great old lettering in it, and there was some cool stuff in this Epic magazine. See if I can find it. Oh, yeah, like this great Charles Vest story. Just beautiful lettering. Change of font, first letter, little things. Okay, here's like another one where it was just clearly all done with some airbrush by hand. It's very cool. I'm actually going to have to get a template out, I think, to do the captured part. So maybe we'll just start inking the mole man. Something I have been getting back to doing, and it's been really helping my drawing, is doing more writing. It really informs the work and helps serve the narrative value of a piece. I get so bored with just like, can you just draw like a posed Superman or a posed whatever? I find that incredibly boring, and I like to come up with ideas of people doing stuff. It's something I thought about putting a thread on Facebook where it's like, hey, throw some ideas for a story for your favorite character or whatever, and I'll turn it into a sketch. I thought that might be a fun way because everybody has ideas for stories, and there's some days I'm just, behind the eight ball and then I don't have an idea, or I'm like, not thinking in that direction because I've got 10 million other things to do. Pretty sure I'll be an Inktober no-show again this year. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I've got to get you that quote for that piece. I still don't. Yeah, I still don't know how to do this shot. I'm trying to figure out. You know, I actually have some old baseball programs from back in like the '60s and '70s, and they have like some really beautiful paintings in them and on the front covers. Um, I was looking at those, trying to come up with like an idea for how to get a good angle. It's tough to get all 9 players, and it'd be interesting to have like thinking story wise for something like that, having the last play of the game being, like whether it's Scott or somebody having to slide into home and being called safe or out, and then the rest of the 2 teams are arguing with each other over whether they're safe or out. I don't know if that's too, because I was trying to think of a way to get the players closer, scenarios in a baseball game where they're closer together, you know. Because I want it to be cool. That's a good point. Yeah. It just makes me remember Manny popping into the green monster while the inning was still going on. Say what you want about the guy. Best right-handed hitter I ever saw. Best swing. It was just effortless, and it was smooth, and there was no hitch in the swing, and it was direct to the ball. Yeah, yeah. I also love finding the stories of players that only ever played for a short while. Like the one of my hitting coaches in high school was actually Joe Charbonneau. He was the rookie of the year for the Indians in 1981. And he was a hard-living guy, and he suffered a really bad back injury his second year. He also got stabbed during spring training, or was he down in the Winter League? I don't remember, but yeah. But yeah, he had a series of unfortunate events, and he went from being the only guy to hit a home run on like out of the second deck of Municipal Stadium, or and then Yankees. Yeah, was it Yankee Stadium or Municipal Stadium? I don't remember, but yeah, there's a whole video on him on YouTube. Super Joe Charbonneau, yeah. And then like a year or two later, he was gone. Rob, how's it going, man? Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thanks for popping in. Captured by the Mole Man. That'd be a fun little story to tell on a single piece. Got like all sorts of chains coming off of him. I probably should add more chains, like just for the hell of it. I don't think we're gonna get to all the chains, so like I could add more chains like coming off around his arm and maybe like around his waist. Just have him covered in chains. Who knows? Maybe I'll color this one if I don't need too much white out. Yeah, Manny was, he did some bad stuff and got busted. And he had such a great swing. Yeah, it's lucky I got to see a lot of really good baseball players at games in person. Who are some of the folks that you've seen? And Kevin, have you been, being out on the West Coast, were you able to see? I've never seen like Shohei in person or any of the Anaheim. Uh, Mike Trout, haven't seen him in person. Hey, that's cool. Never saw Bonds. Never saw him in person. No, that's cool. If you were seeing Giants games, did you see like Lincecum in his prime? Seems like most of my West Coast friends are Dodger fans. They're like the West Coast of Yankees is my understanding. Bigger fan base. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Hey, anytime I can line up a baseball game with a convention, I try to. When I was in Dayton for that Gem City Con, there was a single A game. I just couldn't get anybody to go with me. Except I now know that my buddy Rodney, who was there, he likes minor league baseball too, so I could at least convince him to go to the game next time. It's easier to convince people to go to an MLB game, I think. But it is a lot more expensive. Yeah, so you got to see both Trout and Ohtani. That's cool. Hey, if Ohtani stays healthy, Trout's going to be a Hall of Famer. Hey, if I can get into the show, that's the goal. I got to do all the applications. That's another thing that people don't realize about comic artists that aren't like the big name guys, is we have to file all these applications, and sometimes we have to pay for the tables and pay for the space. At those shows, I would do it because I think that it's likely that, since I don't do many West Coast shows, that I would, and it's a big show, so I would be able to recoup my losses, hopefully turn a profit. Yeah, single A, it's interesting because those are the kids that just got drafted. Um, I really like the Cape Cod League that's out here, and that's actually lower than single A. That's like New York Penn, below the New York Penn League, but so many players came from the Cape Cod League. But they're fun. They're just fun. If you just want to see a ball game and you're not going to see like celebrities, essentially, it's fun. You can go and eat like almost a meal's worth of food for a meal's cost. I also got to make a trip out to Reno because my brother works for that team now, and I didn't get out there this year. Gotta go see my brother. I'm gonna have to add some extra like spotted shadows and stuff, I think. Oh, thanks. Yeah, if I get in, I'll be sure to let you know. Fingers crossed, I get into one or both of those West Coast shows, San Diego or WonderCon, or both. Hey, it's no guarantee. Far from it. And there's always the sliver of hope that NEC shit sets up again. So, but I'm not taking that for granted. I'll be applying for my own space. They were supposed to go last year, and they pulled the plug like kind of at the last minute, and I wasn't able to, get myself prepped to go. Well, the one big benefit to San Diego that is over New York too is that all the editors are there, and all the publishers set up there. So it's like the one chance you can actually talk to a human being, and they might give you a fake email or blow you off later, but like at least you get to, for a short period of time, talk to them in person and say like, hey, this is my work. You got anything coming down the pipe maybe? Or can I do some test pages for something coming up? Or because I've done test pages, on multiple occasions for different companies, and It was when I was younger. It's been a number of years now. I feel like I've gotten a lot better since then. I've also had, editors and professionals tell me that. So, if I got myself into that circle again. Hey, Desiree. It was very nice. It was great. I ate too much. I slept a fair amount, and saw some great art. Saw some comic stores. But I think you're supposed to drink a little too much and eat a little too much on vacation. It's been many years. I hope you're doing well. But thank you for popping in to say hello. It was fun. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I remembered to take pictures. That's a rarity. Oh, have a blast, Desiree. Have a blast. I will see you next week, hopefully. I'll be working on some pages for my buddy Jay next week on a horror comedy. Lots of fun. 'Tis the season. What did you miss, Doug? Well, um, talked about Canada again. Talked about I got approved for professional status for San Diego and WonderCon, and they said I'd be eligible to apply for badges and such and spaces. I plan on doing that. Uh, I'm drawing the Mole Man captured the Hulk. We came up with a little story idea and then went from that for a fun little sketch cover. Talked about hand lettering, which is when my buddy Jay is involved in the story process, um, you're you're not out of the ballpark when it comes to your mind going for that gutter. I mean, this is the creator of such hits as Distracula. Um, but Douglas, I hope you had a great Cincinnati. I enjoyed the sketch you posted. Hope you made a few bucks, sold some things, survived. Came away healthy and with a few extra dollars in your wallet. We talked about AI art for a little while. Hit that topic some because that's been like the topic amongst creators that I've been around. Move some units. Good, good. Yeah, I enjoyed the commentary on the Doctor Manhattan, which is a book that I think deserves more criticism, but everyone loves it. I just don't think it's above criticism. Yeah, I haven't done Cincinnati. I'll have to. It's like just so far away from where my folks live to like go to Ohio just for a show. Hard for me to justify that or see the potential in it, I guess. Having lived in central Ohio. I agree. I agree. I also talked a little bit about it on Twitter with Benito Sereno, the author. It's just I'm flabbergasted that that is many people's first comic book, and people recommend it as a first comic book. See, even just inking Little Mole Man here, you got to go back in and work on the line thickness and do thick and thins. Give him some weight. I mean, it's that book. Both books are beautifully drawn. So, like the picture making itself is fun to look at. But even Moore has said that the Killing Joke is not. He does not hold it in the regard of like the 10,000 printings. Like the Brian Bolland artwork is, of course, just breathtaking. I much prefer the reading experience of like Camelot 3000. And again, the beautiful Bolland artwork. If you're picking, based on stuff that he drew the interiors of. They're both obviously very important comics, so I'm not denying any of that. I just would never recommend. It is. It really is. The story, just yeah, and the deleted pages only like there was a point where whether it was Jeanette Kahn or Dick Giordano was like, okay, that's no. But yeah, we talked, like I said, a lot about the AI artwork, all sorts of stuff. I was more chatty. I was chattier than when I was up in Canada. I was too nervous about the house of cards I built on this little desk to do a broadcast from, collapsing just before my eyes. Um, to really be like, okay, how's everyone doing? Let's talk about funny book stuff. but it worked. Like, it only, like, clicked out once, I think. So, we were lucky. But it did prove that, like, I can do, streams from the road. Like, if I was ever at a show, I could, and, I didn't have 10, even if I did have 10 million sketches to do at night, I'd probably pop on live. I would love to show people, like, one of those nights that, I'm sure you've had them, Douglas, where you go back to the room and, you've got 20 sketches to do by the next day, and, you're up working until, you know, 3, 4 in the morning. Okay. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, it's all yours, man. I'm definitely gonna add some more chains to the Hulk, I think, just to make it look like he's more captured. I'll try to clean it up a little bit so it's not quite as messy. It's not like a PC messy sketch. I did a Helena sketch just to brush off the. I had gone so long without taking a day off from like hardcore drawing that, like, I did that on vacation, and well, that's why we make the chains out of something else. We make it look like they're made out of like diamonds or something. I don't know, because the mole man's got all those underground minerals and secrets of the earth that I'm sure he knows. I've changed, some of what I do, Douglas. Like, I don't take on every commission anymore. I used to take on anything. They'd be like, "Hey, mythical chains, like some sort of magic chains." That's not a bad idea, but I don't know. I have to figure out how to draw that. Make them look like they're glowing. I could do that, like some sort of glowy chains. Yeah, I'm gonna have to repencil some of this, but that's all right as long as it comes out good, or at least passable. Oh yeah, we could make glowy chains. That's a good idea. Maybe we'll put like some runes around the neck. That would be some good storytelling in there. Some sort of runes. And I think we need to have one chain just along the ground. It would be a good way to add depth. Like, it gets smaller and then bigger, and then we could have it like come behind the leg here and then forward. And that would sort of tie the composition together. Yeah, I like that. That's a good idea. We still gotta have like rocks and stuff on the ground. The late night sketching though, yeah, like I've backed way off. I don't take every sketch. I used to, like, whether it was a robot that made me miserable to draw or a transformer, I would like draw it no matter what, because I was there to make every single dollar, and I was like, I don't know, whether it was just like fear or greed or any combination thereof. Probably mostly fear of like paying the bills that month. I've just, kind of accepted that, like, I'd rather be happy with what I'm drawing than have every last nickel. And there were so many just, I almost said a very bad word. There were just so many bad drawings. Like, and people liked them because they were pictures that they asked for, and it was depicting a character that they liked, but they were just technically very poor drawings. Yeah, And it's really on us to schedule ourselves and like what we can do and what we can, there's just I don't have the ability to pump them out like I used to. And like there's just so much like I said, there were poorer drawings. I don't mind pumping out like a remark, like quick little like header on a book or whatever, that's fine. But like, there are some shows where like because I let the idea go nowadays, I'll spend 6 hours on one piece at a show. I know that's nuts, but I do it. Um, Trying to think of the last one I spent a lot of time on. That one that I did at Colorado of Iron Face over Jason and was it Freddy? I don't remember. Over the dead horror guys. Michael Myers, that's who it was. I spent hours on that thing, and I was glad because it came out. I liked how it came out. I like Jeff's work. Jeff is a nice guy. I haven't seen him in years in person. We did a show in Vermont, a terrible show in Vermont together. It was myself, St. Pierre, Bob Camp, Isherwood, maybe my buddy Jay. I don't remember. I think he was there. And it was just, there were no people there. None, none whatsoever. It was just a very lightly attended show. And we both basically sold like one sketch the first day. And we had a couple of people who were like regular folks that we did pre-shows for, like our really excellent like backers that contact us beforehand and stuff and set up their commissions and are awesome. But once we were done with that stuff, like it was just dead. And we hung out and chatted, and I asked him all about working on Conan, and because obviously I had all his like stuff he did with Jim Owsley slash Christopher Priest, like the Hiku trilogy that he inked over Val Semectis, and Jeff would later pencil stuff, and he did Doctor Strange, he did Submariner. I found out that he actually drew the first Doctor Strange book I ever bought later on. I think we need to add some rocks, some foreground rocks. But Jeff's a very nice guy, excellent artist. We draw it differently, but yeah, I mean, it's just trying to be thoughtful and thinking about story and really trying to do something that is meaningful. I think that's the idea. But we're closing in on 10 o'clock, and I definitely, if I'm doing the energy chains, I got to redraw some of this, which is cool. Um, and I'm going to have some, just because I like the humor of it, probably some Hulk spit coming out. Maybe a piece, maybe a little bit of Hulk spit hitting the mole man. Yeah, I've watched some of his live streams. Yeah, hey, he fires up the camera and it's fun to watch. Oh, but I'm out of gas for the evening. Thank you all for coming and hanging out. And yeah, I'll post this when it's done, and I'll shoot you a PM, Kevin. And thank you everybody for hanging out. I hope you all have a good evening, and I'll see you in a week. Good night. Thank you, man. Bye.